Welcome to Hood Champion Boxing and Sports. In boxing, you find a way to win or you find a way to lose. Let me tell you something. I think we should be concerned about all fighters, but I'm talking about Errol Spence. Just because of what he's gone through physically, from the car accident to the vicious beatdown from Terrence Crawford. You see, there was an article that was published where they were talking about as far as the brain and, does it recover after fighters stop competing in combat sports. Now, in this article, right, it was saying that, some of these boxers, I'm just going to say fighters, right, they may see some recovery in their thinking and memory skills, as well as brain structure, after they stop fighting. And of course, if they don't stop fighting, there you go. Repetitive hits to the head increase the risk of long-term neurological conditions like chronic trauma, encephalopathy, which is CTE, cognitive and behavior problems, and Parkinsonism. Okay? But they went on to do this study, and they said that they just don't know what happens to people who've been fighting and then when they stop. The good news is that they saw improvement in thinking and memory scores in retired fighters. So what they went on to do is they took a pool of fighters, right, who were retired and hadn't competed in 2 years, and then they took several active fighters who were still competing. Now what they did is, with those groups, is they matched them for age, education, race, and number of fights at the beginning of the study. Okay? All the fighters had a professional fight within a year of the start of the study. However, the retired fighters then went 2 years without any fights, while active fighters continued to participate in professional fights. Over 3 years, all fighters had brain scans and completed tests to see how well their brains were working, and at both the beginning and the end of the study. Researchers also looked at participants' fighting histories. Half of the participants also had blood tests for a biological marker of brain injury called neurofilament light chain, a component of nerve fibers that can be detected in the blood when fibers are injured. I'm going to read that to you again. Half of the participants also had blood tests for a biological marker of brain injury called neurofilament light chain, a component of nerve fibers that can be detected in the blood when the fibers are injured. The participants also took tests to measure verbal memory, executive functioning, motor speed, and processing speed. In the areas of verbal memory, motor speed, and processing speed, the retired fighters had improvements in their scores over time, while the active fighters' scores were stable or showed declines. For verbal memory, researchers used scores from an FDA-approved thinking and behavior test with higher scores indicating better memory. They found that over time, retired fighters on average had an increase of 3 points, whereas active fighters had an average decrease of 2 points. Researchers also found different patterns of change over time between retired and active fighters in the ability to detect and respond to rapid changes in the environment and how long it takes to complete tasks. For neurofilament light chain levels, retired fighters showed a decrease in levels in their blood from the start to the end of the study, while active fighters remained stable throughout the study. Researchers also measured brain thickness in the areas of the brain that control emotion, memory, and executive function, which is a person's ability to plan, focus, and manage multiple tasks. Out of 68 brain regions measured, 54 regions had consistently changing trajectory. with thickness measures stabilizing for retired fighters and subtly declining over time for active fighters. The results of this study suggest a recovery of cognitive functioning in fighters who are no longer exposed to repetitive hits to the head. Future research is needed to determine if there is a time in the fighter's career where recovery is less likely to happen, or to identify factors that might indicate greater risk for developing a neurodegenerative condition. A limitation of the study was the inability to determine the exact number of repetitive hits each participant sustained. Many head impacts occur during training, and there is no generally accepted way of measuring them. The study also only looked at male fighters. So when you listen to that, that tells me that for Errol Spence, and all fighters, but especially Errol Spence, with everything this man has gone through, the more he continues to fight, the more there's a chance there's going to be a decline in everything about this man. Man, that's sad. So when you look at the conversation about Errol Spence and the slurred speech and Errol Spence, kind of looking like he's in the clouds, and his reaction speed and everything that we've seen in him outside the ring and inside the ring. I'm talking about from him fighting to him talking to him walking to him, looking at things. Everything is just like in slow motion, right? Well, when you come out here and you do a little research to better understand the effects of, fighters and, getting repeatedly hit in the head, or in Errol Spence's case, getting thrown from a goddamn car, right? It makes you, when you sit back and look at how is this person speaking, how are their motor skills, how are they just overall acting and performing inside and outside the ring before the car accident, and you look at them now, how are they, performing inside and outside the ring now? And there's so much video footage of Errol Spence, we can sit back and take a look at. We'll be able to pinpoint, okay, wow, two different fighters. Wow, speech pattern, two different speech patterns. The facial expressions, two different expressions. We'll be able to on our own, just sit here and do a little research and see some things that are going to be blatantly obvious. Now, we're in no position to make a diagnosis or nothing, but we're definitely in position to just have a healthy conversation, a healthy dialogue. But when I read stuff like this and, all the different things that pop up and everyone's claiming to be experts on when it comes to Errol Spence and just his overall condition, right? I just think Errol Spence should just retire, man. I just think so, man. We hate to see Errol Spence, them little girls he has and his son, man. Man can't even, 5-10 years from now, this man can't even talk to him. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. But anyway, if you ask me what he should do, I think Errol Spence should retire. I'm being honest with you. Y'all keep cool. I'm in the breeze.